Hey guys, it's Gus, and Master Demonweb Pits has been out for less than 2 weeks, and the exact same thing is happening with MTOS that happened with MTOS. Groups are not able to do enough damage to complete the last boss because there's a couple DPS checks. And that's great for me because I keep getting invites to last boss, but I don't even really have a reason to run the dungeon anymore. So hopefully I can give you some tips on how to output more damage so you don't your group can complete it and not spend 2, 3, 4+ hours at the last boss wasting all your resources wiping. So tip number one, these Mirage weapons are awesome on the last boss. If you got them, great. I don't know if that's true for all classes, but I believe at least HRs and CWs. But also, the Weaver weapons are a great set. And Masterwork, you can't go wrong with Masterwork. I'm not a big fan of the new weapon sets at all. I know they have a lot of item level, but I don't think they give us anything useful besides that. Maybe they do. I'm just not a fan of them. And this doesn't probably apply to you, this video, because if you already have that weapon set, you probably don't need any tips. First tip for DPS, if you're not wearing the Exalted Maiden's Assault Hide, you're probably not doing your damage potential. This chest piece is too damn good not to use. Yeah, I know a lot of people are using the combat advantage accuracy shirt. Well, you can make up your combat advantage. You may not be able to make up your accuracy, but this 12% damage when you're behind the boss, which is basically every time you do an artifact call, is just too much damage. So if you're not using this, you're not putting out as much damage as you could on that last boss. I know a lot of people do not have the rings from completing Master Zemnid because it's such a hard trial. But if you got these rings, they're great. If not, just use your ones that you got from MTOS. There's 5 artifacts that are well known to be the best artifacts in the game. There's the Halister's Blast Scepter. Almost every single group, that is the healer. The healer is wearing the Blast Scepter. It is a 15% debuff. The next artifact is the Mythalar. That too is a 15% debuff. Then comes the Blades, which I have on, which is a 12% debuff. Then comes arguably the Demogorgon's Reach. Now that could change. That has an asterisk next to it. And the next 2 artifacts, if you're not using the Demogorgon Reach, are 10% artifacts. This Wand of Domination is not a good debuff artifact. And these groups where I'm seeing them fail 3 or 4 hours usually have their artifacts wrong. And you're seeing 1 or 2 players have this artifact and they're losing a shitload of damage because of it. When you do an artifact call, everybody has to do their artifacts and mounts. There's nothing worse than doing your artifact, your mount, your daily, your 6 encounters, and then you see a swarm and Hauser's Blast Scepter pop off afterwards. You just lost a shitload of damage. And the longer the fight takes, the more bad stuff happens, and the more likely the group's going to wipe. Uh, I'm not a fan. Well, you have to groups if they want maximum damage should be using maximum artifacts. I know the blades is expensive, but usually one person in the group will have it. If not, just use it 10%. But the wand of domination is a no-go. It is possible to do the dungeon with it, but if you've been in there 3 hours, you have to start making adjustments. First thing that's got to go is that wand. Uh, if your guild has it, the Revive Sickness boon is great because if you die in the dungeon, which you're probably doing if you've been in there for 2 hours, this will make it so when you die, uh, you lose less hit points and you lose less outgoing damage. This mitigate helps lower um, the downside of res sickness. So this is great. This is a must-have for groups that are learning. Uh, Companions, I'll use the dedicated squire if the healer's having a hard time. 2 of these dedicated squires can keep the whole group alive during the heal check. Yeah, the dedicated squire is pretty good. Watch my video on it. We were using 3 and it was over healing us. Yeah, 2 dedicated squires basically equals 1 healer if that healer's having a hard time during the heal check. It'll keep you alive for a long time. The Raptor's great, Make sure if the group's using it, everybody's using it. Some people already know my opinion on the Raptor. I don't think the top end group should be using it anymore. And I know a lot of people will scoff at that. But keep using the Raptor if everybody's using it. That's a different topic in the future. DPS. This shirt, get it. It's 8% damage. There's no shirt that comes close to that. Get this shirt and equip on the last boss. Also, your two overloads you probably want to be using. Well, I got the wrong one. You want to be using Devil's Precision, wherever it is. I got 12 right there. Must have wore off. Okay, it's right here. You want to be using Devil's Precision, and you can use the Drow or Spider Slayer. I use the Spider Slayer because there's other spiders in that dungeon, in that last boss. And I don't know if the Drow Slayer works on the spiders, but I'm assuming the Spider Slayer works on the spiders. This is a lot of damage because this is an additional hit in addition to your current hits. So the Spider Slayer, and the Brigand Soldier's Tunic that's 8% damage against spiders. Your debuff artifacts, your Mirage are really good, and you want to be using this Exalted Maidens of Sawhide if you want to maximize your damage output. It's just too good not to use. There you go. If you have any other comments or questions on how to improve your group's damage during the last boss, please comment below. Stay classy, Neverwinter. See you soon.